This is The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Roadmap, exclusively here on ASBN.com. I'm Lee Heisman, and every week we bring you some of the brightest entrepreneurs, CEOs, and business owners who are climbing the ladder, scaling their businesses, and thinking about how one day to exit stage left. I want to introduce a very good friend of mine, Robert Burke. Robert, thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Thanks for having me, Lee. Appreciate it.
Robert, you've been a founder of an organization since 2009. It started as Core 12. It's evolved into SOBO. We have a lot to talk about today on the show. Talk a little bit about how you got into business ownership. Has it always been something you've done, or did you work somewhere and migrate into saying, I want to be an entrepreneur?
Sure, thanks, Lee. So I started my career as a CTO of a mid-sized architecture firm here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I served that firm for 4 or 5 years, and the Great Recession hit. And I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to start a business. So I started an ITMSB, which is an IT outsourcing firm. So we handle all the day-to-day front end for businesses, small to mid-size, for their IT support. And so essentially I started the business in 2009.
And that business, if I'm incorrect, is called Core 12.
Core 12, that's right. And when I started Core 12, the vision that I had for the business is that one day this company would be a Deloitte for small business. It would be like a Bain or a Deloitte for small business. And I think most everyone knows that's just a really big consulting firm, right? And it made no sense at the time. It was a vision that I struggled with for 15 years. I lost a lot of people along the way just because the vision wasn't in keeping with this IT firm, right? And so a couple years ago, I decided to kind of fork those two things off. And Core 12 is an IT firm. It's a very successful IT firm in Atlanta, Georgia. And SOBO is the consulting firm for the rest of us. So
talk about this. So Core 12 has evolved into SOBO. And I want to get into SOBO in a minute, but I want to talk about, you're still the owner of Core 12. And what I know about what you've built is you have a wonderful Generation 2 there at Core 12 that's running the business. Being the owner, you don't have to operate in that business. What's that like, and how did you get to that phase?
So that started 2 years ago. I actually got really serious about starting the next phase of SOBO and evolving it into this platform, this consulting platform, in keeping with that vision. And so I started making a very active effort of developing the next generation leadership to take over the day-to-day of the business. And 2020, I started that process in 2022, and then at the beginning of 2023, I was out of the business in terms of the day-to-day operating the business.
So, a lot of people talk about you owning a business and running a business, and people say, you don't want to be prisoner to your business. You want to run the business, not necessarily operate every day. What were some of the key ingredients, other than working on that and finding the great second generation to do it? How else do you manage it from a distance but keep it successful?
Well, so, there's this curve of learning how to do that over time as a business owner. And for the first 8 or 9 years of the company, I was experiencing tremendous growth, great success, picking up really nice high-end clients. And but I also was working in the business 100% of the time. There was no working on the business, as they say. So just through experience, I started learning how to evolve as a business owner, right? And developing my team to start taking over more of the day-to-day. That really started, the process really started about 7 or 8 years ago.
So was it tough to let go of the reins and let someone else make decisions? How much autonomy did you give people? What was some of the biggest challenges you ran into?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge that I ran into was my own ego. I thought, hey, no one else can do it better than me. So that was like the number one thing. And I think every business owner has to go through that process, maybe some more than others, but I think everyone has to some degree. Because you know this business better than anyone else, right? Or so you tell yourself. And so I had to overcome ego. And then after I did that, I had to learn how to properly delegate, how to keep things time sensitive, setting smart goals that are actionable, measurable, time sensitive, and specific. And so that all takes time to learn and develop. And I was very fortunate that I was plugging myself into CEO peer groups and other networking groups that were giving me this input that I wasn't otherwise aware of.
So you get this organization running well. At the same time, you bifurcate it and you evolve what was SOBO and you changed it to Core 12 to now this vision of what you really wanted to start back in 2009, which is SOBO.
Yeah.
And great hat, by the way.
Thanks.
I love that. A great logo, great color scheme is something I never forget whenever I get an email from you, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So talk a little about SOBO. What is this?
So SOBO is a platform, a consulting platform that addresses a very specific and critical need for small to mid-sized companies. And that need is a growing gap in strategic talent in companies. So small to mid-sized companies, they're dealing with a gap in strategic talent.
Give an example if you don't mind. Give me an example of a small business having issues with a gap in work.
Right, for sure. So I'll first of all explain the gap. Why is there a gap? Why is there a gap in strategic talent? And that's because every day in this country, 10,000 people leave the workforce. And every single day, 5,600 enter the workforce. Now, the people that are leaving the workforce, they would tend to be more experienced, more strategic, right?
Makes sense.
In terms of their skills. And those entering the workforce, coming into it, less experienced, less strategic, more tactical. So when you think of like access to tactical resources in the marketplace, you have Fiverr, you have Upwork. These are marketplaces that most people are aware of. They know where to go to get a logo or to get someone to do an animation for them. And those marketplaces are perfectly fine for that. But where do you go when you have lackluster sales in your company? Where do you go when your finances are all over the place, or where you don't have an operations leader to help you as the business owner go to the next level? And so the idea of this platform is to help you identify the gaps in strategic resources in your business and issues that are the result of that, and then how to fill those with frictionless on-demand consulting.
So first off, I like that.
Yeah.
Frictionless on-demand consulting.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to steal that word, frictionless. I like
Okay.
that a lot. But so what you're saying is as business owners are growing their businesses, and I've experienced this, they do need that area of expertise. Hiring those entry-level people, that's not going to really float for their business to get to the next level. So using this service, they can work in these types of employees into their business. Talk a little about that dynamic. And owners out there,
Sure.
They say, hey, I'm interested in accounting services or sales management services. Talk about it in a little more detail.
So right now, it's almost like, when I say right now, the traditional way of accessing this strategic talent is like finding a needle in a haystack. You have to be in the right place at the right time, in the right networking group or the right CEO peer group, or you have to know someone that used someone recently in the last 2 years, and there's just too much friction in the process, right? And what business owners really need is someone to come in and take all that lift off of their shoulders. You know, how do I source vetted talent? How do I inject these consultants into my business without letting them get the better of me? How do I level the playing field, right? And so what we do as a platform is we, number one, vet the talent. We identify opportunities for improvement in your business without you spending a single cent on an engagement. So you're just paying for that gym membership, that subscription to the platform. It gets you in the gym. It identifies what your gaps are, where your strengths and where your weaknesses lie. And then with the ability for us to take your data that you're supplying us with, anonymize that data, and get insights or recommendations or diagnostics off of that information. So as a business owner, whether you know what your issues are or not, you'll be able to find out where those gaps are with our subscription.
So it's kind of like coming into a high-level concierge medical office, it sounds like, where I can get the MRIs, the CAT scans, all of the testing to tell me what's wrong with myself that hopefully they can go fix.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I've actually used that as an analogy, that it's like having a team of business doctors looking at your business 24/7.
Well, then see, we're aligned, which is wonderful, and that's exactly the way you described it.
Yeah.
So talk about a little bit that, you have a 1-year anniversary coming up, or it's just come up, is that right?
Yeah, for SOBO.
Talk about
That's right.
this.
So yeah, a year ago, I filed a patent for our matchmaking process, our matching process, as well as the insights process, the ability to take that data and turn it into insights. It's very powerful, and not unlike anything else that's available in the market right now. So I papered the idea, I put together a pitch deck, and I raised money. So I raised $800K in our angel round, and we were able to build product with that last year. We were able to ship our first release by the end of last year, and we've turned on sales, and we've started the process of bringing on subscribers on the platform this year.
So I know you're still raising funds, which is wonderful to develop this more, and most people would perceive, oh, you're in pre-revenue stage, which is very popular. The reality is your product and what you do is so good, you can't really claim technically that you're in pre-revenue because you already have people utilizing your service. Is this accurate?
That's right.
Talk
Officially,
about
we
that.
started selling, January the 2nd of this year, and we've already booked $60,000 in ARR, annual recurring revenue.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you
Just
get to
2 weeks.
use, if I'm incorrect, you get to use the new clientele to even refine your process more.
That's right.
Is that accurate?
So every single insight request that they submit on our platform, we're getting better and better and better. And it's not just knowing what your issues are and identifying what those issues are, because a lot of scorecards can do that. It's really how do I take this further? How do I use my internal teams to execute these recommendations? Or if I don't have an internal team or someone that I already know, how can I inject someone safely or perform a consulting engagement safely, on this platform? And the platform de-risks consulting as part of the process, which is really cool because a lot of business owners, they've had bad experiences with consulting. Everyone knows that 50% of consulting engagements fail. And they fail for a lot of reasons. One, you didn't vet the person, right? Or you didn't integrate them properly, or you didn't hold them accountable. So there's a lot of different reasons why a consulting engagement might fail, and we de-risk that through this process we call engagement assurance.
Let me tell you something. You're exactly right. Most consultants, they're not worth their weight or the paper that that their resume is written on. And I've had bad experiences like most other business owners. But your platform does solve for this need because you're doing all the vetting behind the scenes.
That's right.
So I know where this is going. I know where you've been. I know where this is going in this platform. What is your future? What does the future hold for you?
The future for us, for the platform, is to help small to mid-sized companies level up. This country needs more small to mid-sized companies, because without those small to mid-sized businesses, we will not have choices. Our kids, our grandkids won't have choices of where they get to work. Most people don't want to live in a world where the government assigns you a job and a purpose. And so that's what we're all about. We're all about saving small to mid-sized companies through this platform that can not only help you identify your needs, but also fill those needs with strategic talent on demand.
And it's helping the strategic talent get a job, of course.
Absolutely.
So almost seems like you have two clients
It's
there.
a win-win-win. It's a win for everyone.
I know where SOBO's going, and I know where you're going because you're connected intimately with SOBO. Talk about, for our viewers out there, as we wrap up here, Robert, tell me, what is the one piece of advice you'd have for entrepreneurs, people? Because you've set the stage. You've started a business. You've grown it now to where you're hardly operating inside the business, Core 12, which has been operating independently for at least 2 years now. Now you have this vision you've had from the very beginning. How do people replicate that? What advice do you have for young entrepreneurs out there?
The number one advice that I would give is focus on the customer experience. Whether you're providing an IT support contract, whether you're providing an HVAC tune-up, or whether you're starting a new platform, a new SaaS platform. Focus on the experience that those early customers are going to have, because they're going to be the ones that keep you from having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on every single new client. And that's really the key, is focusing on that experience of the client.
So if people want to get in touch with you, whether it be even Core 12, specifically SOBO, and just yourself with your knowledge, how would people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So you can hit me up on LinkedIn, Rob Burke Jr. You can also access me on Instagram at I am Rob Burke, and our website, SOBO.ai, is the consulting platform for small to mid-sized companies, and the IT firm is core12tech.com.
There's so much there, much there. But I say, for our listeners, Robert, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah.
I know I've learned a lot from you as well, and I hope our viewers have as well. Ladies and gentlemen that are listening and watching today, number one, get in touch with Robert, not just for his organizations and SOBO and even understanding Core 12, but also for his knowledge and what he's done in his roadmap and the path that he's taken in his career. I know I've learned a lot here. Everyone, thank you again for joining us today. I hope this was as insightful for you as it was for me. We hope to see you again next week on another episode of The Roadmap.
Thanks for watching The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.